Everybody in crypto is talking about the 2024 elections. Many believe that if Donald Trump wins, we're going to embark on a massive bull run. Some even predict a super cycle. On the other hand, if Kamala Harris wins, many expect that the market will totally crash, burn, and it's game over. But what if neither of these two predictions are right? In this video, I'm going to share a new perspective that is going to help you to look at these elections in a totally different way. No matter who wins, there is one important fact about Bitcoin and crypto that many people are overlooking, and it could make all the difference in your strategy this year. So let's dive in. But before we do, if you enjoy watching videos like this one, I put a lot of time and energy in making them. Make sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. It will help me to reach more people like you and help them to educate and stay informed about everything that's going on in the market. And if you haven't done so yet, also make sure to subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be posting regularly throughout this crypto market cycle to help you to get an advantage in the market as an investor. All right, now that we have that out of the way, I just need to make one quick disclaimer over here. Nothing in this video, of course, is financial advice. I'm making this video purely for educational purposes only. Before making any investment decision, always do your own research. Now, let's dive into the meat of this video. So this is how the 2024 elections is going to influence crypto. I'm going to give you my shocking prediction, and I believe that many of you are totally wrong about what the impact of these elections will be on crypto. So let's dive in. In addition to the financial advice disclaimer, I also want to share that this video is not a political video. To be honest, I don't care about politics at all. I believe politics is one big puppet show. And if you really truly want to make a big impact on the world, I don't believe that the best way to do this is by voting on some politician somewhere in the White House or maybe your local government. I believe a much better way is to learn a great skill to make a lot of money, then reinvest that money into the market. Do that with a great strategy consistently over time and grow your wealth. And then when you are wealthy, use that wealth to actually do good things in the world yourself, rather than relying on third parties to supposedly do that good work for you. So I just wanted to mention that. Now, very soon on November 5th, 2024, we will see election night. If you've been living under a rock, well, let me explain. We've got two presidential candidates. We've got Donald Trump, who was an ex-president or who is an ex-president, and we have Kamala Harris. So Donald Trump is representing the Republicans and Kamala Harris is representing the Democrats. So on November 5th, we will hear who of these two candidates will be selected to be the next president of the United States. So if we look on Twitter or X, however you want to call it, there's a big crypto community out there. And when you analyze the messages, the news updates that they're sharing, you will start to see a pattern. They have embraced Donald Trump as the pro-Bitcoin president. And here I want to show you a few bits of, a few posts or a few messages of people in the crypto community to show you why they believe that Donald Trump is a pro-crypto president. So here, Sunny Decree is saying, breaking, Donald Trump sparks talks of Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. So not that long ago, we had an industry event called Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville, United States, where a lot of the industry leaders spoke on stage. And this time they also invited Donald Trump to speak. In this campaign, Donald Trump identified the crypto community as a very important community to help him to win the elections. So he decided to speak at this event. And while he was on stage, he mentioned that he was potentially interested in making Bitcoin a strategic reserve asset. So what is a strategic reserve asset? Think about it. Like many governments in the world are currently holding gold in their reserves. What if instead of gold or in addition to gold, they would also start to hold Bitcoin? So this means that governments around the world would be printing massive amounts of fiat money in order to acquire Bitcoin and hold it on their balance sheet to hedge against inflation or to back their currency by something of real value, because that piece of paper in your wallet isn't backed by any real value other than the promise of the government that you can exchange it at the bank. Now, here is another message that also relates to this Bitcoin 2024 conference and some of the things that Donald Trump has mentioned during this event. Here, he said this X account root, the rational root, says that Donald Trump promises that the US government will hodl their current possession of 200,000 Bitcoin as part of a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Why is this important? Right now, there's one country that has adopted Bitcoin as a strategic reserve strategy, which is El Salvador. So El Salvador is consistently buying more and more Bitcoin and is holding it on their balance sheet. Now, I believe that more countries are going to adopt this strategy. But just like the average retail investor, countries also act like sheep. If one or a few big players start to make a move, then usually the others tend to follow. And if the US starts to embrace Bitcoin and starts to adopt it as a strategic reserve asset, then it's very likely that also other countries are going to start to adopt Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. So that's why it's very significant that that this event or that this change in the way that the US government looks at Bitcoin will happen. And that's why a lot of the crypto community is really excited about that. Here, Donald Trump is now a Bitcoin bull. He suggests using Bitcoin to pay off the $35 trillion US debt. It's great to see that politicians are now talking about this. So again, Donald Trump is probably one of the biggest influencers in the US and maybe even the entire world. So if someone of this caliber is talking about adopting Bitcoin as a way to pay off the national debt, that is something very massive. And of course, the crypto community is really embracing that and is getting really hyped about it. One of my tweets, breaking, Trump wants to make the US the capital of crypto. So basically, one of the announcements that Donald Trump is known for is that not that long ago, he went into the media and he said, why are we making it so difficult for all these crypto companies to be in the US? Why are we making all of these terrible rules for them? Instead, we should entice them to stay here and to keep all of their precious innovation within the country. Otherwise, they'll just move away to other countries like the UAE or Singapore, where they are actually being welcomed in a nice, positive way. So I believe that that's very important because the US has, for example, Silicon Valley as one of the hubs of innovation, and crypto is one of the most important innovations of this era. And if you then make it very difficult for those companies to develop within the US economy, then they will go elsewhere and you will miss out on a lot of employment opportunities, on a lot of tax income, and a lot of innovation that can be created and that can positively contribute to society. So I really truly agree with Donald Trump that you should not scare such innovative industries away, but you should just actually make sure that they feel welcomed to build within your economy. And he's saying if elected, he will fire the SEC chair, Gary Gensler, and create a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So why is this important? Well, Gary Gensler is the head of the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commissions. That's the US governmental body that's basically regulating the stock markets, the crypto markets, all of the financial markets. And they have taken a very anti-crypto stance. So by firing Gary Gensler and by putting someone into that position that is maybe a little bit more crypto friendly, it actually makes it a lot easier for crypto companies to flourish within the economy rather than being afraid that the regulatory environment might only become more difficult and negative towards them. Here, President Trump just paid his tab in an NYC bar using Bitcoin. Trump is the crypto president. Now, I believe that this is something that has been thought of by the Trump campaign to show that he is really the pro-crypto president, because of course the crypto community is going to love it when Donald Trump goes into a bar and pays with his tab using Bitcoin. But he did, and it shows that he is serious about showing to the crypto community that he gets it and that he wants to be there for them and he sees them as an important audience. Here, Vivek is showing that right now, if you look at the decentralized gambling markets, I think Polymarket is the most important platform that people are looking at for these gambles on who is going to be the next US president. We see that right now Donald Trump is taking the lead. Maybe by the time that you're watching this video, the odds might be slightly different, but this is what is most important. The crypto community on X tends to believe that when Bitcoin or when Trump is getting elected, that Bitcoin is going to skyrocket. It's going to shoot to the moon. It's going to go to 100K and up. So that's the current belief that the crypto community is having. Now let's quickly look at Kamala Harris' anti-crypto policies. So Kamala Harris is part of the Democrats, which is one of the two dominant parties in the United States. Now, within the Democrats, there are a lot of people, of course, and one of those is Elizabeth Warren. And Elizabeth Warren is a politician which has spoken out that she is building an anti-crypto army. So she's assembling a group of politicians and other influential people to fight the crypto industry and to basically kill crypto because they see it as an innovation that undermines their influence, that undermines their authority and control, and they prefer to kill it rather than embracing it. And one of the ways that they're doing it is Operation Choke Point 2.0. What is Operation Choke Point 2.0? Well, that is a game plan of these anti-crypto politicians, which is focusing on making it very difficult for the crypto community and crypto companies to on-ramp and off-ramp money through the traditional financial system. So right now, let's say that you want to buy some Bitcoin, then maybe you need to deposit some Bitcoin through your bank account on an exchange so that you can buy that Bitcoin. Well, what Operation Choke Point 2.0 is doing is that they're making it very difficult for these exchanges to work together with banks to actually move money in and out of these exchanges. And if you are cut off from the traditional financial system and no fiat money can be onboarded on these exchanges, then it's going to be very difficult for people to transact within the crypto ecosystem. So this anti-crypto army of politicians is making life hard for crypto companies and for the crypto community. And that's how they're trying to kill the crypto space. Here is another example. So here's a tweet by Lark Davis, and he's saying, this is part of Kamala's crypto reset. Nothing but hollow words. So OpenSea has received a Wells notice from the SEC, so the Securities and Exchange Commission. We're shocked that the SEC would make that move that threatens creators and artists, and we're ready to stand up and fight for our industry. So basically what they have done, there is this NFT platform, NFT marketplace called OpenSea, and now the SEC is attacking this NFT marketplace. So again, they're making it very hard for crypto marketplaces, exchanges, and crypto companies to do business. And this is all part of Operation Choke Point 2.0. And they believe that if Kamala Harris gets elected, then this crypto army, this anti-crypto army of politicians is only going to get stronger, more influential, and might ultimately bring in some regulations that could kill the crypto industry in the US. Of course, you cannot entirely kill the crypto industry because it will probably just move elsewhere, but not in the United States. And it's just in general not nice. We want this really great innovation to be accessible everywhere in the world. Now, a shocking plot twist, and you've probably seen it already in the title of this video, but I want to share a shocking plot twist with you. This is my perspective regarding the elections. It doesn't really matter who wins. It doesn't matter if Trump wins. It doesn't matter if Kamala Harris wins. And I'm going to explain why. Here you see a chart of the national debt of the United States year by year. And in the bar charts, you see which candidate, whether it was a Democrat candidate or a Republican candidate that was basically running the country. And regardless if it was a Democrat or a Republican president, the national debt of the United States still kept going up and up and up over time. You know this saying or this meme in the finance space, the money printer goes brr. That's exactly what's happening. The US government is so addicted to printing more and more money, regardless of who is leading the country, that the United States debt will probably keep going up forever. No matter if Donald Trump will get elected, no matter if Kamala Harris will get elected, the money printer will keep on printing more and more and more. It's because they're already addicted to this, okay? They're addicted to very easily, with a few clicks of a button, to create more money. So what happens when more money gets created? Well, more money flows back into the economy and oftentimes flows back into the financial markets, driving up the prices of assets. You see, the United States already has $35.4 trillion worth of national debt. If you go on this website called the US National Debt Clock, or you can Google it, then you will see a real-time dashboard where you see the national debt going up. And it's really shocking because every time you blink with your eyes, you see the national debt go up with millions in just a matter of a few seconds. So what I mentioned, the more money gets printed, the more money will flow into financial markets. And one of those assets that benefits from this is Bitcoin, because there's a very limited supply of Bitcoin. There's only 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be in circulation. And the more money flows into the market, the more money is chasing the same Bitcoin. So we will end up getting into a bidding war where people are going to start to bid more and more and more to own one Bitcoin or to hold some Bitcoin. So that is something that's only beneficial. And right now, if we're looking at the top 10 most valuable assets in the world, we see that gold is the number one most precious asset class in the world, with a market cap of almost $18 billion. And we see that right now, Bitcoin has a market cap of $1.2, $1.3 trillion. Sorry, I don't know if I said billion here. It should have been trillion. So $18 trillion. That's a gold market cap. And Bitcoin is $1.2, $1.3 trillion. So right now, gold is the go-to store of value that people have been putting their wealth in to protect themselves against inflation, the devaluing of their money. But in the past 15 years, we see a new and in many ways better alternative pop up, which is Bitcoin, which has many of the same characteristics as gold, scarcity, mainly, being the big one. So there's very limited amounts of gold in circulation, but there's a hard cap to how much Bitcoin there will ever be in circulation, 21 million Bitcoin. And that's one of the reasons why many investors and institutions are now rushing in to get their hands on some Bitcoin. They basically want to store their wealth into stuff that the government can't just print more of with a few clicks of a button. And Bitcoin has been named the best performing asset class of the past decade, so between 2010 until 2020, because of this reason. And if we look at the returns of Bitcoin compared to the returns of other asset classes like the US NASDAQ 100, large caps, small caps, REITs, which are real estate investment trust, and other types of investments, then we see that Bitcoin far exceeds the returns that these other asset classes have generated in the past decade. Actually, Bitcoin has generated an annualized return of around 230% per year between 2011 and 2021, which is a factor of 10 higher than the US NASDAQ 100. So that's quite insane. And it is for these reasons that so many investors are attracted to Bitcoin as an asset. Now, when we look at Bitcoin adoption, so when we want to analyze where the price of Bitcoin can go in the next few years, we need to look at two things. We need to look at the supply and we need to look at the demand. Now, the supply of Bitcoin is known. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be in circulation, and the new supply of Bitcoin that gets created gets halved every 4 years. We call this a Bitcoin halving. Now, let's look at the demand side. So the demand side, so how much demand there is for Bitcoin, is determined by the adoption. And the adoption of Bitcoin is following a very similar pattern as the adoption of the internet. If you look at the adoption of the internet was created in the 1950s as a military and academic technology. And it wasn't until the 1990s that the internet was adopted as a mainstream technology. Now almost everyone has a laptop, a computer, and a mobile phone that's connected to the internet. Now, if we're looking at the adoption of Bitcoin versus the adoption of the internet, we're seeing that actually we are roughly on par, maybe even higher or faster than the adoption of the internet. So this means that more people are getting interested in Bitcoin and are adopting Bitcoin and are holding some Bitcoin over time. So this generally means that the demand for Bitcoin goes up. And if we only look at Bitcoin, if we only look at the education of Bitcoin, for example, this video that you're watching, now education is becoming increasingly accessible. There's more YouTubers creating content. There's more people on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, other social media platforms that are posting about Bitcoin and crypto and that are educating people. So with more education, that usually tends to drive the demand of something up as well. Now, we have a few really important players in the market. One of them is Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor is the CEO of a company called MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is a company that in the previous bull market started to adopt Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. So instead of holding their surplus money in their bank account, they started to buy Bitcoin. And they have done really well. They are billions and billions in profit. And now they're becoming the example for publicly traded companies that are adopting Bitcoin as a treasury asset. So pioneers like this are inspiring other companies to also adopt this strategy. And this is also probably going to drive up the demand for Bitcoin quite a lot. Then we have pioneers like Larry Fink. Larry Fink is the CEO of BlackRock. BlackRock is the largest asset manager in the world. Right now, they're managing around $10 trillion worth of assets. Earlier this year, BlackRock announced their Bitcoin spot ETF. And this went into the books as the fastest growing ETF in history. They broke all records, and BlackRock was also surprised by how fast this ETF grew. Now, with all of that success, the CEO of BlackRock, Larry Fink, is now becoming a public spokesman and is preaching on all of the media outlets where he's a guest about how great Bitcoin is and why everyone should buy their Bitcoin and crypto-related products. Now, this is also really good because having a big institution like BlackRock endorse Bitcoin makes it more accessible for other institutions to also hold Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So, that's really important for the demand. So regardless if Donald Trump wins or Kamala Harris wins, we see very positive signs regarding the adoption. So we're seeing that more and more people are getting interested in Bitcoin, no matter who will win the elections. Now, one thing that I want to mention is that Bitcoin is censorship resistant. Bitcoin is a decentralized monetary system. What does it mean? It means that there's no central entity like a bank or a government that controls Bitcoin. Basically, the way that Bitcoin is being run is through miners. Miners are individuals and organizations that own specialized hardware that process transactions on the network, and they earn a commission in terms of Bitcoin. So as long as there will be miners, there will be Bitcoin. So you can transact Bitcoin. You don't need the bank. You don't need exchanges. Anyone can send Bitcoin from one wallet to another wallet as long as there will be miners. And I want to show you one example. So in the previous bull market, China suddenly announced that they were going to start to ban crypto trading and crypto mining. And people were in shock. But ultimately, the miners simply moved from China to other countries like Russia, like Kazakhstan, like the United States, other countries in Africa, and they simply shifted from one place to another place. And here's another article. After China's Bitcoin mining ban, Bitcoin is stronger than ever. And this shows how censorship resistant Bitcoin actually is. You cannot simply destroy Bitcoin. As long as there will be miners, there will be Bitcoin. Now, let's wrap all of this up. So again, I want to recap what we've just discussed. The common belief is that if Donald Trump wins, we're going to see a massive rally. If Kamala Harris wins, we're going to see the market tank. My perspective is it doesn't matter. We're seeing more and more adoption of Bitcoin happening right now. We're seeing more retail investors getting interested. We see companies getting interested. We see institutions that are getting interested. And if we look simply at supply and demand, there's a limited supply of Bitcoin while demand is increasing. Now, on the other hand, we know that the money printer will keep on printing more money over time. It's simply the fact that the US government has become addicted to printing more and more money. I compare this to playing Monopoly with your friends, and one of your friends is kind of cheating. So every time he wants to buy something, rather than using his own money, he just takes money out of the bank and uses that to buy properties, to buy land. And when someone is getting used to cheating, and when you don't take action against that, he will just keep on cheating and getting more and more money out of the bank to buy land and properties. And that is the current state of the US. Well, the positive thing about all of this is the more money gets printed, the more money is in circulation, the more of that will flow back into the financial markets. And the more of that will be in the financial markets, the more the price of assets like Bitcoin will be driven up. Bitcoin was already one of the best asset classes of the past decade, but with more money in circulation, we can probably expect that the price of Bitcoin will go up over the long term. Of course, this is no guarantee, but this is usually something that happens when more liquidity is added to the markets. Also, we've seen that Bitcoin is censorship resistant. We've seen, of course, the biggest case study where China tried to ban and kill Bitcoin by banning mining. That simply caused miners to move elsewhere, and it had a negative impact on their economy because all of those miners were paying electricity, they were creating jobs, they were contributing to the economy, and they simply moved elsewhere. So with that case study in mind, we know that Bitcoin, no matter what you throw at it, it will ultimately only become stronger and better. That's the whole way that Bitcoin and the community around Bitcoin is created. And that is what's giving Bitcoin its superpower. Now, I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. Let me know in the comments below, do you agree with my perspective that it doesn't matter if Trump wins or Kamala wins? Over the long term, Bitcoin will continue to go up simply because of supply and demand fundamentals, all of the adoption that's going on, and the way that Bitcoin is created. All right, if you got good value out of this video, make sure to hit the like button. And if you haven't done so yet, also make sure to subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be putting out more valuable videos, breakdowns, just like this one, to help you to make sense of everything that's going on in the market right now. All right, that being said, peace out. I'll see you in the next one.